G'day champions. Just doing a quick test stream from my home. I've just trying to get sort of two streaming setups happening, one for at home, one for here, just for future interviews and stuff, collaborations, that kind of thing. Just going to check the audio, check everything's cool. So, you know, not a hell of a lot to watch in this one unless there's a lively chat, but everyone's probably asleep, so I doubt that's going to happen. I've got the SM57 here going into a Motu Microbook 2. I've got the Lumix GH5S with a 20mm f1.7 lens pointing at my noggin. So I think it looks okay. I was looking really orange last time I did a video, and a talking head video anyway, and that was mainly the settings being wrong in the camera, and I'm not real good with the tech on the camera side stuff, you know. Lyle and Six try to help me, but you throw 3-letter acronyms at me and I just don't remember them. That's why I was never good at IT or networking or internet security or anything like that, because it's IP, CSP, I can't remember any of that shit. I don't know what it means. And the color space was set different on the camera to OBS. So it was, once I fixed the yellowy sort of Oompa Loompa-y looking color, I ended up looking like red, like I was sunburnt, and everything in the background had this weird sort of reddy, purpley sort of haze about it. And that was the color space being set wrong in OBS. But, you know, learning curve. If it was easy, everyone would do it. Oh, wait, everyone does do it. So anyway, here's my humble abode. Some cloudy weather today. What are you up to? Who's awake? Who's watching? Anyone? All right, so no drop frames. We're sitting at 15 megabits per second. And that's about the ceiling for my home internet. The work one's a bit faster. The home internet, you know, we only got it for Netflix and stuff, so we didn't really worry about the speed that much. Probably should have just gone the full speed, but looks all right from here. But tell me how it looks from your end. Oh, actually, no, it looks pretty terrible from here. Awesome. Where are we? Studio. All right, there we are. Quality's not brilliant. It looks like it's streaming at 15 megabits per second, but yeah, I don't know that that's actually what's bouncing back at me from Uis. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for the feedback, mate. 1080p. For some reason, I've set the frame rate everywhere at 50 frames a second. And then YouTube keeps showing it at 60. So I don't know if this frame skipping. You probably see the hand jumping a little bit every fraction of a second or so, because it's skipping a frame. Don't know. There's a lot to figure out with this stuff, eh? And all the online forums where people get their information from, a lot of it's just wrong. So that's fun. But anyway, it looks like it's working. And no one's really showing up, so I guess I'll leave it here. And oh, now it looks like it's buffering. Are we live still? Still showing no drop frames, but looked like it glitched out there for a second. Okay, that's probably just at my end then. Sweet as, bro. No clipping. Compression okay. I think it looks okay with the blurry background. That's just to hide all the cleaning that I've got to do. Got to get some cool YouTube background ornaments. I've got the valve radio there, the AWA radio that Dad restored. I should fire that up so it glows. Alright, we'll check that the desk capture is working and the audio doesn't play up when I do that. That's my head in the corner. This is the news website showing that the Matildas won last night. I might actually get into football or soccer here as we call it. Seeing the girls do that good. Maybe a video on how to set it up when you get this sorted. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea, Mark. Because a lot of it was trial and error, to be honest, or just Googling stuff when I didn't know what it meant. But it looks like everything's working. Oh, I've got 6 watching now. The number 6, not 6. Alright, well that's working. Now, do we have audio? I can't really play anything because I'll get a copyright strike. Maybe we'll do just news radio. I don't think that's copyright protected. Oop. News radio.
We're at great risk, but never imagined she would be in this position only a week before the election.
Nope. Hang on.
Time to process something so shocking and so stubborn as
you're getting the audio from the desktop there.
Presidential candidate in such level of violence.
No,
and
hi
so
Dad.
Soon, so
no, we're heading up next weekend.
I think this is a
couldn't go this weekend. We have to go next weekend.
And eventually for the world's democracy.
How's the level in relation to my voice?
She blames the state for her husband's murder and demanded answers as to why it happened. Verónica Sarauz made the accusation at a news conference Saturday here in Quito.
No lo protegieron como debían haberle protegido.
They did not protect him as they should have protected him. The state was in charge of Fernando's security. The state is directly responsible for the murder of my husband, Fernando Villavicencio. The state still has to give many answers.
All right, just test that. All right, I think everything's working, legends. Oh, well. Does anyone want to do a quick Q&A while we're here? There's 6 people watching, so probably not. You're all smarter than I am, probably. So I've got a bracket and just mounted the camera above the screens. So now it's looking down on me a little bit. Which is not great because you get to see my terrible teeth. I probably should have fixed when I was like 15 or something. But that way I don't have to deal with stands and stuff on the bench. So, you know, it's a trade-off. So I think we're maxed out. Oh no, we weren't maxed out on the gain. If a man is a liar and says, I'm a liar, is he? Oh, that's a pretty good Q&A question. I don't know. I guess you'd have to Is that a like old riddle or something there, Lyle? All right, I got the trim plus 48 decibels. Is that clipping at all? If a man is a liar and says, I am a liar, is he a liar? I don't know, man. I gotta smoke a joint to answer that one. Demonetized. I did a test stream earlier, just with private setting, and it flagged like something I said as like really offensive. Couldn't monetize it. I'm like, I didn't try to monetize it, but anyway, I must have said something. I think YouTube often misunderstands Australians, like doesn't everyone, but it thinks we've said something real bad when we haven't. So now I've got the sun beaming in, which means streaming this time of day is not a great idea, but it must be like midnight over in the States anyway, so it doesn't really align for time wise, but because now the frame rate, the shutter speed needs to be shut down a bit because the sun's varying. I've got a light here in front of my face, but yeah, it's the afternoon sun beams straight in this back window because the house is facing direct west. So that's something to contend with. One thing I did find, I tried testing this and getting the settings right this morning. Well, it was still dark. The sun hadn't risen yet. And there was all sorts of noisy artifacts in the background and lots of compression happening. When I did a test earlier today, I had a bit more light happening in the background, and all of the weird shit and the artifacts from the compression in the background, the MPEG compression, went away. So I think I was going to have like a cool, moody, dark background, but I think that we kind of have to have some light in the background. Otherwise, all the compression, it was really distracting. It was kind of gross, actually. Max power, nice camera. Thanks, mate. This is the best one I got. This is the Lumix GH5S, especially suited for video work. Contrast was better a minute ago. Yeah, that's the sun's gone behind a cloud again. The sun's gone behind a cloud again. That's what we're contending with. Probably about 160. That's about right at the moment. I've got this light up here I'm going to put on the floor to light up this side of my face. And I'm going to put my bigger lights from the workshop up here with the grid on my head so it doesn't light the background up too much, but it lights my stupid face up. Of course, you could just go hard lighting. There we go. That looks gross. So I've got that shooting onto the wall next to me, which is lighting this side of my face just enough to see it. If I turn that off, looks a bit shitter. This is just working with what I've got, I don't want to have two full-on studio setups. This is sort of like if we decide to do a live stream, if some piece of news breaks or whatever, we can do one, because maybe I'll start covering a bit of industry news and get my finger a bit on the pulse instead of up my arsehole. If you're using OBS, you can set the mic pre to -12 and then use the gain plugin thing. Crank it pretty high without clipping. OBS seems to artificially attenuate the incoming signals. Yeah, so my preamp was going full scale digital clipping and it was showing -5 dB or -6 dB in OBS. Now, if I want it to clip, it's actually going full scale. That was a setting somewhere. I forget where I found that. I don't know. See, the thing is, when you're dealing with OBS, you fix something, and you're like, oh, cool. And then you notice another problem, and you've forgotten the previous one because you fixed it. I really should write notes. So first we had the color problem. Then we had the video compression problem. Then I had the audio problems. Now I've synced everything up, and everything's looking okay. And the color coming back to me from YouTube, as well as recording video onto my hard drive, looks the same as the color on the preview, which wasn't happening before. So I think we're there, legends. Now the biggest thing is just the bitrate. Probably should upgrade my internet for at home and go up to the 100 megabits per second instead of the 50, because the download speed is what they all market them on, but that not every dickhead's a content creator, so they don't generally advertise the upload speed as part of the deal. So let's see what that is. I'm not sure. No limiter on mic before AD. No, it's going straight into the interface. I can't find a decent limiter that isn't a full rack mount unit. I think this is fine as long as the preamps aren't shit and the compression's happening in the box. It's not going to bring all the noise up with it. It should be fine, Justin. These SM57s need quite a bit of gain. Well, all dynamics do in comparison to condensers. But I think that's sounding okay from the recording that I had before. Fully sick, bro. Now, Motu has this thing with the micro book that it doesn't have with the M2. And I'll just show that to you. Now, this little feature here is pretty cool. It's like a little mixer. The problem is that they market this thing as being able to be a mixer. And this is your interface here. But the problem is none of this, it would be fantastic if all of this stuff happened like before the A to D. But this is actually happening in parallel to the A to D. So it's got zero latency monitoring on the interface on the microbook too, and I think pretty much all Motu stuff has that. So you can implement these effects. It's got a DSP chip in the interface, which is why they cost a bit more than the Scarletts and whatever, Focusrite. It processes it in the box and then sends it back out the line outs for your monitoring and for your headphones. So you can track with zero latency, but these effects that you put in are only on what you're hearing through the headphones. They don't actually get put into the recording interface. So if all of this was, all of this EQ and stuff, where are we? Oh, I've screwed something up. EQ? Yeah. So here you've got your channel. This is just on your mic, your channel, your EQ. It's got like six band parametric EQ, like pretty blinging, really. Dynamics, full dynamics. Effects pre and post. Maybe that does it. Hang on. Pre-post. No, because that would be pre. It would want to be pre and it's still not there. Yeah, as far as I know, you can't use these effects and processing and then print that to tape. So the signal goes directly from the preamp straight to the AD, straight into OBS, and it also parallels off to this thing. And then that comes out your monitoring, so you can use it as a mixer, essentially. It would be great if that stuff could be done before the analog to digital converter, however. I did just find this one cheap. Oh, manual focus. It's a Motu 4 Pre. I just wanted to have something in the bag, so if we did want to do a quick little acoustic session somewhere, I could just chuck that in my backpack with the laptop and record, 4-track audio for just whatever. I wanted to start doing during lockdown some live sessions, not during lockdown, but when all the pubs and stuff were still shut. I wanted to do some little live acoustic sessions at the shop and broadcast them. But yeah, work got out of control, and I never ended up following that up. But that would have been cool, just 2-piece duos and stuff for my customers, and just I still might do it. Just I've got all the lighting and shit down at the shop, so I may as well just have a little corner that can be set up like a mini stage, and people can play a half dozen songs there, maybe once a month or once every fortnight, something like that. And I'll pay them because I'm not a scab. If people perform for me, I will pay them. So that'd be cool. Let's just do a quick test on this thing actually. So meters, if I go post, and I'm looking at my level, and I'm trimming and I'm trimming and I'm trimming. No, it's not changing anything. Oh, hang on. I've got to turn it on. Trimming, 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 trimming. No, that's not changing the signal going in OBS. So it does nothing. Worth a try. How about in mixes? So focus, dynamics, trimming, 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 trimming. No different. It'll be changed once going through the headphones, but not what's going into the computer, into the confuser. Well, worth a try. Any software routing options in that? It's pretty limited. No, it's kind of it is what it is. Source mix 1. I can see what they were going for, but like to make it like a standalone mixer. But it would have been so good to have all of that processing in the box. But it's like everything, Lyle. Like it's like cameras, right? I thought, oh yeah, the Lumix GH5S, because it's made by Lumix. It doesn't have a power connector that you can constantly power it by. So for some reason, it's got all these other features. All these cameras are like this. They've got a dummy battery that you got to plug into the thing like it's a battery, and then that's got a socket that connects to a power supply. Just real, like, why can't they just have a socket that takes power and charges the battery, or just powers the camera indefinitely? Then I thought, okay, so this one doesn't have a charger. You charge, because of course the cameras don't charge the batteries. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's power consumption limits or whatever, thermal considerations, I don't know. But for some reason, none of the professional cameras, you can't charge the batteries in the camera by just plugging the camera in. You got to carry around this stupid charger thing that plugs in, and it's another cord to carry around. And so I thought this charges the batteries while it's plugged in, right? This is the GX85. This is just my little travel camera. It looks funny with this huge lens on it. Normally it's got a little 20mm, well, that 20mm on there, or a little mini zoom lens for, just carrying around the city and stuff when we go for dinner or whatever, and just, taking snaps of people and getting into punch-ons for it. But I thought this one charges the batteries, right? So surely that will power the camera too. So it's just a USB socket like on a phone. So I plug that in, and then what do you get? You get a message that says battery will continue charging once camera is off. Like, what the fuck? Really? Like, so even that one, I can't just plug in. I've got to do the battery dance every hour and change the friggin' batteries out, because that's literally the only way to keep these cameras running. So yours charges the battery via USB. Does it do that while it's outputting HDMI or recording though, Lyle? Because it seems like Panasonic gets some stuff so right and some stuff just so wrong. They'll get like the best stability stabilizer, 5-axis stabilizer on the market. Like the reason I use the G85 at the shop with a non-stabilized lens is because the stabilization is class leading. But everything else on it is silly. You know, we all know about the autofocus, which is why this is manually focused now. So the autofocus is a near deal breaker for most people because it's that terrible. Now, they've brought out, they've kind of overtaken Sony with their latest camera, the S5 II, or the S5 IIX, which is a video-centric version. And it's got the world-class stabilization. So they're getting there, but Jesus, they're taking their time. So now their stabilization and their autofocus is ridiculously accurate and fast. But yeah, I don't really want to go spending $2,000 and $2,500 on a camera body. And then it's bigger. The ideal thing would be the GH5S, or well, it should be the GH7, essentially. Yeah, the background's kind of grainy. The ISO is 200. So that graininess I am not seeing here. That's coming from compression, if that makes any sense. So that's getting introduced. Not sure why. Really shouldn't have any graininess at that bitrate setting. Dunno, bro. Probably still have to do some more research. And I wonder. Let me just bear with me, legends. Hang on. I wonder if because I can see a little bit of graininess here on the screen now I'm looking. And there is a little bit of banding happening. Not sure if that's happening from OBS or from the camera. This stuff is so much fun. Are you being facetious there? I thought this stuff actually was fun to you, Lyle. Quick menu. Just one sec, legends. I don't know that there's a way to set. If the cam, no, it's getting 1080. Love using the menus back to front too. Xfinity dropped your stream. What is that? Your service provider, Lyle? I don't know what Xfinity is, other than a super cringy marketing name. So back to my whinging. Yeah, so the cameras all seem to have one Achilles heel, almost all of them. Probably less so Sony, but I don't want to spend $3,500 on a camera body and $2,000, $3,000 on lenses. So, you know, I make $100 a month off YouTube. So why would I? You know, this is adequate. But they've all got an Achilles heel of some degree. Sony, up until recently, the Achilles heel was the recording time limit. Now that wouldn't really matter for the edited videos because they're put together out of 15-minute max clips, like, you know, maybe usually 1 or 2 minute long clips, right? All edited and snipped together. But when I do my live stream walks or stuff like that, or just recording a walk, bushwalking, that kind of thing, where there's no internet access, I need several hours, like 2 hours of unbroken recording ability. So up until recently, the A7 series, which was the main one I would have looked at, was limited to 30 minutes recording. So that was an issue. And the Sony A60 or A6000 series, they have a recording limit, but it's because the sensor overheats. So that's usually about 15 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on the ambient temperature. So that one was out. That was APS-C anyway. So Lyle's probably got the best one, the ZVE1. I think that was the one, wasn't it? But yeah, shouldn't be there with your gear. No, it shouldn't, should it? And there is banding. If you see, let me just share the desk. I can't really do that. Hang on. How do I do this? So see just above the elephant, you got this area up here. There's banding going, no, that way. See that? With the light gradients, there's banding happening down there. So that's not great either. That to me looks like a lack of bit depth, but it's getting crushed somewhere and it ain't in the camera. ZVE 10. Yeah, the ZVE 1. Yeah, so the ZVE 1 was shit. It's $2,000 and overheats, yeah. And the ZVE 10 is the new one where they fixed that. But they took away some other features. Well, I think that was mainly to do with fast frame rate stuff, so it probably doesn't matter. Victor, how you going, mate? Thanks for getting back to us when I sent you that message on the community page. Just want to make sure you're doing all right. I just heard the death toll's gone up to above 80, which is heartbreaking. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that stuff. We're going to have to deal with it. Probably not this summer, but next summer, again, it's going to be shit. Camera body was 700 and the lens was 500. I thought it was more than that. Oh, that's US though. So that'd be like 1200 and 750 Australian. No recording limit, doesn't overheat. And it's APS-C. Not pleb micro four thirds. The reason I wanted to stick with micro four thirds is because this little thing is a 12 to 60 millimeter lens that's stabilized. And look at it, it's tiny. They're so compact for the focal lengths. If I was to go APS-C, that lens would probably be another third bigger. And if I was to go full frame, that lens would be about twice as big. I'm thinking of the ZV1. Right. ZVE. Fuck. Camera numbers, man. It's like talking about Ibanez guitars with their super memorable model numbers. Okay, my end's showing that it's freezing. Is the video nice and stable still? The ZVE1 is kind of a baby FX30, and the FX30 is a baby FX3. The FX30 looks... That would be one that I'd be very interested in for video production. The FX30, the FX3 would be fantastic, but I just there's no way I'm spending that much money on a camera. The other reason I like, this is me justifying, this is me being a Mesa Boogie owner. I love it because of this, even though it's got lots of problems. If I've got a camera like this, the camera body of this is probably ironically worth more than my G85, even though the G85 at the workshop's much more capable, because it's so small. The lens you can get for about $600-700. New, they're about $1,200. That lens, and it's still a current lens. There's so much secondhand shit out there for Micro Four Thirds because various companies use the same format. There's just so much secondhand gear out there. It's like a kid in a candy store on just even eBay. And the thing I like about cheap secondhand cameras that are reasonable performers is because you don't hesitate to just throw it in your backpack, take it on a trek, take it four-wheel driving, take it in the dust on a dirt bike. You throw it in your bag, you don't think twice about it. If you've got a $4,000 camera and a $3,000 lens, $2,000 lens, it's going to subconsciously limit what you do and it's going to stifle your creativity. So having cheap gear is sometimes better because you don't think twice about using it, pulling it out, being seen in public with it, walking down a dodgy ass alleyway with it. Because if someone bashes you for it, you could probably bash them with it and it would probably still work. But even if it broke, it wouldn't break your heart because, it's not worth that much money. So that's another reason. They're the various reasons why I like Micro Four Thirds and why I'll probably stick with it for now. I mean, you look at the videos I was making 2 years ago. It was the Samsung Galaxy S3. Like, let's watch one. I'll give myself a copyright strike. Hang on. I've got 2 channels. I've got one where I just go on bushwalks and stuff. And sometimes if I do something like a particularly interesting bushwalk, I'll post it on the main channel as well, just for exposure and just because I know you guys sometimes like some non-guitar or amp related stuff just to chill out to. This is supposed to be a channel that you come to relax. It's not a tutorial channel. It's not, here's Brad, as our ex-Prime Minister said, I'm not the suppository of all knowledge, but he meant repository, but he was an idiot. It's a place you come to chill out. So sometimes I like to put unrelated videos up there for people to chill out to because I like watching them from other creators. You started with the Galaxy 2. I thought you had an iPhone. The hairy dude. Greetings, fellow Aussie. Recently found your channel and been enjoying it. Cheers. Thanks, mate. Good to hear from you. I'm pretty hairy these days too. Started growing this beard 2 months ago. It's about 2 months growth, 2 and a bit. I'm starting to get sick of it though. I might shave it off, but then I'll just look like a turtle. So anyway, let's watch one of my old videos and show how terrible the video quality was and what I considered adequate and kind of cool and got excited by. Not that kind of excited. My channel. Videos. Oldest. Yeah, right. So this is one where I take apart a speaker. Ah, bloody dickheads putting ads on.
Sweet smell. I don't know what the fuck that is.
See how good that looks?
Can't be good for you. Alright, let's pull it out. Oh, it's still hanging on by a thread. Alright, seems a shame to waste that one because it doesn't appear to be much wrong with it, but you can see there.
Did you see that there, champions? I remember this. I move the speaker and you hear a little click. That's the razor blade sticking to the magnet, and I think I go looking for it later and I couldn't find it because it was stuck to the speaker.
Right. Seems a shame to waste
There
that
it goes.
Doesn't appear to be much wrong with it, but you can see there where it's been rubbing on the pole.
Great
It's
focus.
an aluminium former. Often they use Captain. It's Kapton, not Captain.
No,
You can see it's been rubbing there.
no focus at all. It doesn't
rubbing
even...
there, and it's been rubbing there. So it's probably deformed from overheating. Captain doesn't deform as much under heat as aluminium does. Aluminium will change its shape, and then it'll rub against the pole piece. So when I say pole piece, I'm
So
talking about
informative.
this piece in here, and you can see there's only a little narrow window of opportunity between the magnet and the pole piece. As soon as
I
trying
can't
to keep
speak.
that gap small concentrates the magnetic field and makes the speaker more efficient. But having a smaller gap means you've got less room for movement. With
Love a
heat.
bit of gap.
So when it heats up, when you're abusing the speaker, it'll start rubbing on that centerpiece, and the
Look at my hand. I look like a
symptom of
Simpson.
that is ghost notes, what they call ghost notes. So funny little notes that are happening, not related to the note that you're playing, and distortion at low volume. When you crank the fuck out of it, it
Oh,
sounds
still swearing.
because the volume of the little scratchiness in there isn't much compared to the volume you're putting out. It'll only get worse though, so there really is no way to replace that other than replacing the speaker itself. So there you have it. Now I've got some fucking... Oh, there's my razor blade.
There we
Now
go.
I've got some cool...
So you get the idea. So I think it's come a long way since that. I don't know why all my videos tended towards yellow until I got a color card. Don't know. It's like I liked yellow things. It's like I was watching too much Sin City or something. Don't know. But anyway, I think we've come a long way since then, but there's still always room to improve, legends? So I might leave it here and let you go back to sleeping, because that's probably what most of you were doing. I am going to probably get an Olympus 17mm f1.8 lens, and then that's it. No more lenses. We all say that. But that'll probably be the streaming lens, because at the moment that one is a 20mm, and it's about right, but I wouldn't mind sort of having about this much of me as opposed to this much of me when I'm sitting at the desk. So let's just temporarily, just quickly put the 12 to 60 on there, and I'll show you what a 17mm looks like. That's interesting. Before you put it on. There we go. So that, I'm going to change the shutter speed because it's a lower aperture. Manual focus. ISO. Compensate. We'll go 400. Alright, so that's a 12 to 60 set to about 17mm, and that's me sitting at the same spot as I was before. And there's the tiny little 20mm chucha. That thing is so cool on this camera. That's my little rig that I'll go everywhere with. It's always living in my backpack. It's got a UV filter on there just to protect the lens element. This lens is really noisy. Hear that? And kind of slow with the focus, but it's great for photography, not so great for video. The audio out of this thing is dog shit. It's really bad, like unusable. When I did that Dry July beverage review, grand finale of the cafe, so the plan was to do a time lapse of people ordering coffee and grabbing their coffee and leaving in a line, and that worked. But I was planning on speeding the video up, but keeping the audio of just the ambient sounds in the cafe, like cafe sounds, right? And the audio is that bad and that out of balance that it was just unusable. So it was just silence. Yeah, it's got these two little holes up the top, which is supposedly the mic, and there's no mic input on that. So really that's just for either B-roll footage, which it's good for, and the stabilization in that 5-axis for the size of the thing is amazing. So either B-roll footage or photography, just for fun, for funsies. Just got home from work, back for another 18 hours in 7 hours. What? Dustin just got home from work, back for another 18 hours in 7 hours. What? You're working 18-hour days, Dustin, and you're watching me? Go to sleep, buddy. You need some sleep. No more lenses, no more guitars, no more vehicles. Yes. I mean, no. I got to go pick up my motorcycle. That's the next thing. Micro Four Thirds apologist. Yes. They're just so damn cute, Lyle. Like, look at that. It's so cute. Little Lumix, and it's got a little flash too. Look, check this out. I'll set it to autofocus, and you can laugh at the Panasonic autofocus 1 minute. There we go. There it is. Set it to 100. Let's crank up the ISO a bit so you can have some nice background noise. See the autofocus? How good is it, eh? Oh, it's actually not bad today, but so this. It's cute. And you press this button and a little flash pops up. Yeah, I bet that confused it. Apparently you can tilt it too. No, it feels like it's going to break if I do that. So there you go. Go the full 12mm so you can see the Michelle's messy bench. Her work desk. So if we go 17mm, I'll give you about there. But with a smaller, wider aperture, sorry. So we'll have more background blur. So there you go. Lol had to have a beer to wind down first. Mixing a festival this weekend. 7 a.m. start tomorrow. Load out after the last band. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Manual focus? Oh. There we go. I dribble over guitar gear too much to get involved in camera gear as well. I think I'll stick to my Logitech webcam and an ancient Canon EOS. The Canons were great. I had a EOS 1100D, which was just living in the dusty garage the whole time. And it survived. But for the meantime, I'll pop the 17mm back on. Manual focus. I don't like the fly-by-wire focusing either. I like my Olympus lens at work because this is the bit where I slow down while I'm trying to speak. There we go. The Olympus lens at work has this thing where you click it out and then the focus is hard locked focus. It's not fly by wire. These ones you turn them and the camera and lens firmware decides how fast you want to focus because there's no end. It just keeps going. It's like a rotary encoder. So if you move it fast, it changes. So say I turn it 90 degrees. If I turn it fast 90 degrees, it'll go further than if I turn it slow 90 degrees. And that's not very intuitive. We have brains and they're attached to fingers. And they know what to do, believe it or not. There's a thing called muscle memory. And these camera manufacturers seem to think that we don't have muscle memory that can be relied on. Now there's the ultimate. Yeah, I'm really live, Sonny. Sonny! Thank you for the... I forget the words. Before digital. Yeah, I used to go Pentax before digital. I had a Pentax MX and then an MX 50 or something. Just getting the focus point right. So, Voigtlander. This one has a continuously variable aperture, which you can set to have detents, where you can click that little thingy there, and now it's smooth. Hang on, yeah, that way, and it clicks, and now you've got smooth aperture. There's no stops. It's just constant, continuously variable. And the focus has end stops. When you stop it at infinity, it's properly infinity too. So I like this one. It's a 10.5 mil, which is like 21 mil equivalent, 35 mil focal sensor size. 10.5 mil f 0.95, so wide open. But you set that one to about aperture about 8 or 9. You set it to infinity. Set your shutter speed to bulb, or time lapse. Set your shutter speed to say 2 minutes or a minute. Perfect lightning photography lens. This one gets a nice wide angle, and infinity is actually infinity on these ones because it's, again, fly by wire. There's no way to tell in pitch black where you're focused. There's no reference at all. So you've got no idea if when the lightning strikes you're going to be in focus or not. And there's nothing more disappointing than having a wicked massive lightning strike in front of you and it's blurry. That sucks. Am I shooting this with the Panasonic profile like one of their log things? This is in Cine Like D at the moment. Cine Like D. I gotta get the Vlog thing happening. Let's show you the profiles. Move the mic so you can actually hear me, eh? Alrighty then. That's Cine Like D. No, come on, man. Alright, that's Cine Like V. Let's get the focus on my face. On my face. There we go. That's rough. That shows up every imperfection. Yes, there are imperfections on my face, believe it or not. This is Cine Like D. I don't know what Cine Like V is supposed to be. That looks shit. That's 709L. That's Vlog L. But you need a LUT on the... Yeah, I haven't got the LUTs installed yet. That's standard. That might be causing the blocking and grain. They need more light. Oh, okay. I'll learn about this one day. I mean, that to me looks the most natural. But looking at the background, there's banding there, there's banding there, there's banding there. There's banding on every setting. So yeah, not sure, man. I'm gonna have to go back to 709, you reckon? That's 709L with the same exposure settings. Give it more exposure, more light. Still getting banding no matter what we do. Turn up the light. Bring down the exposure. No, it's still happening no matter what. Now it's just floating head, not ISO the actual lights. Yeah, that's what I just did. So ISO's still on 200. Shutter speed's at 100. But what I'm saying is, there you go, how's that? What I'm saying is the banding, no matter what I do, is still happening. And it's mainly the background that is doing it. Dunno, bro. Some more investigation required, I think. But anyway, at least the audio is good. That's what I supposedly am qualified in. Oh God, trying to use the menu backwards does your head in. Alright, to me that looks most natural. I don't know. I think that looks the best. Just visually. According to me. I think I bumped the color temperature. There we go. I am a pretty pasty fuck. At least I've got the beard now. Really shows up if I'm in focus or not. Anyway, I might leave it here, legends, and go and clean up the workshop. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for giving us your opinions. Looks a lot better than it used to, but there's still work to be done because I ain't no professional. So the next thing I'll do is test. And what happens is there's a lag in the stream, and when I press end stream, it actually ends the stream, even though we haven't got past the lag yet. So I've got to say bye and then sit here looking at the camera like a dickhead for like 15 seconds and then hit the stop stream button. So what we might do is time it, and then I'll know how long the delay is. Sonny Silversmith, between Brad and Psionic Lyle, do you think the Silverface reverbs, super reverbs, will have a good future in repairs, parts, and value? I bought a couple not too long ago and wife is still a little mad. Don't worry about that. Since when do we worry about that? I'd say yes, they're a fantastic investment. They require probably significant work if they've not been touched before, and much more significant work if they have been touched before, because more often than not they were touched by a complete fucking idiot. In my experience anyway, out here almost all the Silverface fenders have been severely fucked with. I'm about to do a Silverface Princeton reverb that we can all have a laugh at. I'm a bit concerned about how hard I go on these things because it's frustrating, and someone out there is taking money for these jobs, or the owner tried it or did it and isn't owning up to it. So you got to be careful how hard you go on the previous work, because it could be the guy that brought it to you who did it and he's not admitting it, and he might get a little bit upset if you go off too hard on the previous repair attempts. More often than not, it's the recaps and the creative as shit ways that guys get around doing it properly, when doing it properly is a lot easier than doing it not properly. I just don't understand. Just get the right parts. Like, they're not hard to find, and they were even easier to find 20 years ago when this shit was done. But it lasted 20 years, so who am I to complain? But, you know, we can laugh at it. We can laugh at shitty soldering and dodgy installations and dangerous stuff that could set your house on fire. But if you're the one with the amp whose house gets set on fire, you probably wouldn't laugh too much if that happened. So yeah, this it's very important to do these things properly, and there's lots of people out there that don't. But if you've got a silver face, particularly super reverb, they are shooting up in value here at the moment. I know our amp market here is very different to you guys. In fact, you know what? I could go to do some work, but it's 4 p.m. and I'm feeling really lazy today. So let's just have a look. This is just eBay, so you could list it for $1 billion if you wanted to. Like, it doesn't really mean anything. But let's see what the Aussie amp market's doing. Fender Super Reverb. I'll close the pawn tab. No one wants to see that. Okay, so there's literally none here at the moment for sale on eBay. So I'm getting Japanese listings. Share desk. $73.35 plus $200 shipping. $214. So that's the 64 blackface. The 65 it's going for 6,500 plus about 730 shipping. This is funny. So this is a reissue. Church owned. Why do they always say that? It's like saying your car was see you Lyle. Take it easy, mate. Saying it's church owned is like saying, oh, it's had one lady owner. Like, some of the church instrument amplifiers are some of the most poorly cared for ones I've ever got. So I'm not sure that that's a glowing review of that one. But they're going for about $5,000. And who knows what condition these ones are in. I've seen them locally because they're naturally they're more expensive once they're out here because they're much rarer. They seem to be going for somewhere between $4,000 to $6,000. So how many of them have you got? eBay isn't really a good indication because the fees are just exorbitant. What you want to do, and I tell people to do this, say you want to see a market price of a thing, go to advanced search, Fender Super Reverb, and click sold items and completed items, and then search. This will tell you what they actually change hands for. And let's sort by highest price, because then we won't get the parts, we'll get the amps. All right, so that one went for $5,300, probably to someone local. That's Australian. So what's that in Yankee bucks, freedom dollars? Oh. Okay, this is the stupid thing on Google where if you write the dollar sign, it doesn't tell you, but you get rid of that, and then it tells you. How dumb is that? So about 3,500 US, that one went for, and that was a 66. But yeah, how silly is that? So if I just write 5371 AU to US, Google figures it out for me and shows me a pretty little graph. If I put a dollar sign there, it gets confused and can't tell me. And we're worried about AI. Like, really? Sure. Pro Reverb 53. Yeah, the thing with Facebook Marketplace is there's no buyer protection, so you pretty much just have to be cool with if you bought it and it's completely buggered, it's just yours now, and you've got to figure out what you're going to do with it, because you almost got to buy it expecting that it's completely screwed and you're going to be doing a full. So what I'm saying is you're buying stuff on Marketplace, the price is going to be lower because you got no buyer protection, so you're taking a risk So that risk carries a monetary value, which is the lower price because you're the one taking the risk being the buyer. But there's so much scams. I've bought stuff on Facebook Marketplace before, but it's only been when it's a like a known profile that I've seen in other groups, like for camera gear. There's a guy who's got a YouTube channel and he reviews camera gear, and then sells it on. It's a cool little hobby to have. Lots of guys do it. But I saw his name and he had a long history, and you could see his profile looked legit. And we did just cash in hand, and he was cool with that. That's how I got the GH5S. And deals like that are good, but there's so many scams on there. And if something seems a little too good to be true, it's absolutely 100% guaranteed to be a scam. Simple as that. It's just Facebook just is an engagement whore. So it doesn't care that there's scams on there because it gets people on there and more exposure to their advertising. So they're not made liable for the victims' losses of these scams. So they don't care. They don't do anything about it. So I don't list anything on Facebook Marketplace because I just don't feel like getting 1,500 scam emails a day or scam messages a day, trying to use Pay ID and all that bullshit. They're probably just bots. There's probably not even people behind the accounts. It's probably like some central automated bot factory. So there's no point responding to them even because there's probably not even a human on the other end that's going to read it. So anyway, Scotty, how you going, champ? Testies, 1, 2, 3. Bloody oath, mate. We've got a part of the SM57 club over here. Trying to be a cool kid like Lyle. No SM7s around here. I haven't got the budget for it. I mean, SM7s are fantastic mics, but I have an SM57. I've got like 6 of them, so why not use that little pop filter? Does that work all right? No, that clipped. All right, well, I am content that this system works reasonably well and looks a lot better than it used to. So I'll try and get down to the figuring out why this compression's happening, or the weird bit depth that's causing not great stuff in the background, even on this screen, and then causing the YouTube compression to exacerbate it. But we're getting there slowly. Beta 57. No, this is just a 57. This is just a pleb 57, mate. Kicking ass and taking numbers. Nah, just kicking ass. I've got to go to bed. Got up at friggin' 3:30 a.m. for Lyle's stream. Yeah. That's the compression doing that, Christian. If I stay still, you'll gain detail in the beard. But then when I move, it'll go away. That's how the MPEG compression works. See that? Yeah. So I need to figure out how to get a slightly higher bit rate. Might need to upgrade the internet plan again for the home one. But anyway, thanks for watching, you bloody legends. 8 a.m. in the EU. G'day, RaxFX. Finding a time that is convenient for everyone is really difficult. It pretty much just means I have to just forget about sleep, which is cool. I don't mind. Are you going to text him next time his stream freezes? Yeah, I think I did that once before and he wasn't watching, so I think he just needs to have one like iPad with the updated, like the current comments, and he did have that, but you get carried away on a live stream and you forget what you're doing, and you start with the best intentions and then halfway through you forget them all, and you get excited when people are asking you questions and chatting away, and you forget all sorts of stuff. But anyway, take it easy, legends. And now we'll do our timing thing. So let's start right on the minute. 4, 17, 57, 58, 59. Bang. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I'll press it at 20.